and here it is. Well, imagine that. When I take myself away from the screen, that's just the way it works. What's up, folks? It is episode 55 tonight, and on deck, we have the guys from the middle show. Eytan Shander, I'm pretty sure should be popping in here momentarily. I see Harry Mayes and Barrett Brooks on. Of course, our guys are on as well. It should be a fun night. We're going to make this a quick intro because we are limited as far as on time, but we thank the guys for coming on with us. So just to get the show right underway, I'm Angel. This is Broad Street South. As you can see, all the guys come in all at once just because it's the fast show to me tonight. So, guys, hello and welcome to episode 55.
How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday, happy Friday Eve.
It's a good one. Can't wait. We got a loaded show tonight, and we got a lot of topics to cover.
Great to see everyone. Let's get right into it.
Ryan, I think your audio is a lot better, so hang on, Ryan. From, again, the middle show, let me bring up this screen here so everybody can see. Again, Monday to Friday, and or Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on YouTube. You guys, if you look on their Twitter handle, you will see right here, there's a link directly to the show. If you click on the link, it'll take you to YouTube, and you can also look at phillyvoice.com, Apple Podcasts in case you missed the show, and Spotify. So you can listen to it 3 different ways from Sunday, as I like to say a lot of times. And, of course, if you guys want to follow the guys as a team and or individually on their profile, you have Harry Mayes at Harry Mayes TU, Eytan Shander. It's always been the Shander Show for many, many years, as long as I remember. And Barrett Brooks at B Brooks 72 NBCS. Good Lord, I got marbles in my mouth tonight. Just the way it works. But without making the guys wait around any longer, here we have tonight with us, and guys, we appreciate you guys coming on. Harry Mayes and Barrett Brooks, how are you guys this evening?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you guys having us.
Thank you for coming on.
Great to be here, man. This is an ensemble cast, man. There's a lot of people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Either we go big or we go home, one of the two. So it's just just the way it works. But I want to start off, and guys, I know it's going to be a pretty much a quick round robin here. We do appreciate you guys coming on with us. Harry, before I get over to Barrett Brooks, I'm pretty sure the guys have a question for him as well. Do you remember? I'm going to throw this back. God, I want to say maybe before, a little bit before the World Series. This event here.
Oh yeah, the fat guy in the front right there is me, I believe, holding that helmet. That was when I was really fat, and that was when we were down in near Vineland, New Jersey, I want to say, at that racetrack. It was a pretty cool event. It was like a go-kart thing, but they also like race regular cars there. They had Porsches racing around there the day we were there, I remember. Yeah, that was a fun day. I was working with Nick Cale back then. That was one of my 4,900 partners that I worked on when I was with the Fanatic.
Yeah, if you do remember as well, and I'll hold up the shirt here because I still have it, just like I still have the shirt here with Nick and Harry Mayes.
A Nick Cale sighting. Hey.
Nick Cale sighting, yes.
Now, if Harry remembers that day, I said it to Nick first, and I see the comments coming to you guys, and I'll get to you momentarily. So I said to Nick that day, you guys, and he made me repeat it to you, that you guys were the best morning duo at the time. It was short-lived, but it was the best morning duo. And then Nick made me repeat it back to Harry Mayes. And to this day, I'll still say it. That morning combo was the best that 97.5 ever had, in my opinion. I
appreciate that. That's very nice of you to say. The thing is like you said, it was very short-lived. There was a lot of things that were short-lived there because they never really gave things the length of time to really get their legs, if you will. And I come to think of it, the reason they did that is because they never wanted the show to last. It was always like an interim. There was a lot of interim stuff going on there.
Yeah, I hate to do it to you, but they did the same to me. In fact, I didn't even know I was a guy that was, full time there, and I was only there, every once in a while, and I got cut from the show. I'm like, I only got cut from the NFL, not a show, not a Saturday and Sunday show at that, at 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, nobody was listening. I guess the people going to church at 8 o'clock in the morning were coming to listen to it, but hey. But how do I get cut from there? That's crazy, isn't it?
Outrageous.
That is nuts. And by the way, I see your third partner in crime here. Looks like he's going out for a walk.
He's
Eytan, how are you?
I'm great, fellas. Look at this. Look how many heads there in face. We've never reached this. What do we got? An octo box here?
Hollywood Square.
This is impressive.
It's a true round robin here, babe.
Wow.
I appreciate the invite for all of us. Good to be with you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Like a bad episode of Hollywood Squares.
This is awesome, man. This is what streaming should be. Just a bunch of people on here talking, yelling, arguing, cursing, whatever.
I'll take Philly sports personalities radio for 1,000, Alex.
Right. If it's Hollywood Squares, that make me Paul Lynde in the middle. That's not good.
Is Paul Lynde the most famous center square ever?
It's
come on,
gotta
Kenny
be.
G was there, right?
Gotta be, man.
George Goebel.
George Goebel was good.
Goebel.
That's
Paul was the king, though. Paul was the king.
Now, the former offensive tackle, which we have Barrett Brooks right to the left of Harry Mayes, if those who are watching here live. Barrett, and we know you played for multiple teams, as I'll go around here with everyone else. And because we're, again, managed for time here, out of the multiple teams that you played with, to kind of go quickly through it, which would you feel, and we won't be hurt if you don't say the Eagles, don't get me wrong, what team, in your own opinion, was the best that you ever played for in the NFL?
Well, you know what? It had to be 1 and 1A. I would have to go. Of course, I got to go Steelers. I won a championship there. You know, at the end of my career, I was really able to feel what it is to be on the top of the sports industry. I was the best number 6 offensive lineman in the world at the time. I didn't start, but I was the number 6 off the bench. So I was the best in the world, the best coming in and being a jumbo tight end in the world. So yeah, I would say Steelers be number 1. But then I have to say, you know, the Steelers, the Eagles gave me my shot, man. They gave me my first opportunity to, you know, put on an NFL uniform. So, you know, they called my name in the second round. So I had to say 1 and 1A for, you know, for both teams, you know, but I did collect many checks for many owners. I enjoyed it.
He's lying. It's Detroit. He's lying. It's Detroit.
Oh, man.
Barrett, what is your take of the Eagles 2021 season coming up?
Oh, man, you know, my glasses always half full. I get it from these guys all the time, man. I think they're going to shock a lot of people. And at this point, I'm saying they're going to be right around 9 games. Now, I had to temper my expectations from 11 games when the schedule first came out. See, I was looking at it from an athlete's point of view, the guy that's been in the league for, you know, a long time. And I looked at it like, all right, I'm looking at a sorry Detroit team. Then I'm looking at, you know, a sorry this team. But then I turned around and I was like, oh, the Eagles are sorry too. So they're looking at us the same way. So those are wins that they're counting on also, you know, looking at the division, you know. So I had to temper my expectation, but I think they'll shock a couple people because, I mean, they got a lot better on the offensive side of the ball. I know people are not giving them a chance right now, but, you know, even with, you know, this young quarterback, but the weapons that they have, the speed that they have right now is really turning me in the direction that offensive line, if they stay healthy, it's a top 5 offensive line in the league. So, I mean, I'm going around at 9 games. See, I didn't waver. 9 games.
9 wins?
I've been with 9 games right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Harry, from a radio perspective, and Eytan, you can chime in on this too. Do you see 9 wins? Yes or no?
No, I don't. But Barrett was first, 11-6. You got to understand. They played 17 games. He had him at 11 wins, and I wanted to check him for drugs. I mean, I know Eytan's on drugs, but I didn't know Barrett was. So I was like, man, you need a drug test. So we finally, you know, worked him down to 9. I'm at like 7-10, 8-9. I'm looking at this from purely a gambling perspective. They look like a 7 or 8 win team to me.
Oh, man. Look, I think these guys are just – they're too optimistic when it comes to one area. And this is where I will gladly have this conversation with people, which is to separate the fact that we all of us want this team in double-digit wins. We all want them to be in the playoffs. We want Jalen Hurts to work out. But let's look at this realistically. There are so many new pieces on this football team. And Jalen Hurts, to be fair, who I'm a fan of, is also technically a new piece. New coach, new DC, everything is so new. It just takes time. It doesn't mean it can't work, fellas. It just takes time. And I think at that point, it's going to take time. It might take 6 weeks. It might take 10 weeks. It might take 17 weeks. But I think this team is hovering around 4 or 5 wins, and they can probably steal one that we didn't expect and finish with 6 wins. But that's pretty much where I'm at. Now, that's not a bad thing if things are working and you can build and you see, okay, we're moving in the right direction. But I just think there's so many new pieces right now that it's hard for me to go over 6 concrete.
And if you have a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who are not going to be a Super Bowl contending team, you're probably better off winning 4 or 5 games next season and having a better draft pick as opposed to 6 through 8 wins. I will throw that stat out there. And Harry, this is for entertainment purposes only. There are 3 games that the Eagles play where the team that they're playing goes into their bye week the next week. It's at Las Vegas, it's at Denver, and it's at Detroit.
Ooh.
Now, these 3 teams are most likely going to be cellar dwellers this year. So it's my hope that when the Eagles play these teams, that they'll just be looking ahead to their bye, and maybe the people who makes those entertainment purposes point spreads won't be paying attention to that, or maybe the Philadelphia Eagles are able to steal a win. I'd love to throw this question out to the 3 of you. Julio Jones, he seems to be the big ticket, the big sexy item right now that all the teams seem to be clamoring for right now. For a team like the Eagles, who are not Super Bowl bound, at least in my opinion, they're not Super Bowl bound, is it really worth it for the Eagles to make a push to try to get Julio Jones?
Not in my view. No. We talked about this at length on the show for a couple days now, right?
Right. It's the offensive side. It's not the offensive side of the ball that they really need to really improve. They have to go to the defensive side. That's where they're gonna be challenged the most. They'll be able to put up some points. They have enough in their offensive repertoire to score points. It's not that. I mean, we got an offensive-minded head coach, so they'll score points. It's defense. Now, everybody else is going to score points on us, and that's what we have. We still didn't go out and get a number 2 corner or number 1A corner for this team. I mean, why? That's a travesty that we didn't go out and get a cornerback, during the draft at, first to third pick. I mean, I don't understand that. Your first, second, and third round, you should have got a defensive back that could go out and shut down at least a number 2 guy in the division. I mean, they have 3 great receivers in Dallas, 2 in Washington, and then they have like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 up in with the Giants. So you're asking that defense to stop them? It's going to be tough.
Do you see the Eagles signing Steve Nelson possibly in the upcoming days or during the summer?
He wants money. That's the only reason why he's not in with the
Eagles
Steelers right
don't have
now.
much to give.
Yeah, so I mean
Yeah.
they tied behind. They're tied behind the Brinks truck that this kid is going to want to bring his services in.
Yeah,
Right.
they could definitely use him.
That they could use him, but here's the thing: this is the team that won't put up any signage about Jalen Hurts. This is the team that wants us to believe that Joe Flacco is fighting for his position there. I mean, you don't make a trade for Julio Jones if you legit don't believe in the quarterback that you have. And I'm not saying they have reason to believe or not. It's just that. It's bullshit. Sorry.
No, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I look at this as a look-see year. Really, they're looking to see what they have in a lot of these players, especially the quarterback. And I don't know that they're fully sold on him, and nor should they be. Maybe he played 4 or 5 games. He looked good in a few. He didn't look so good in a few. So this is his opportunity, I guess, to show what he's got. And I hope he does well. But if they end up like Eytan thinks at 5 or 6 wins, you're in the market for another quarterback next year.
No question about that. You're looking for somebody to come in and take the reins of this team. Like I said, they have enough talent. You keep that offensive line healthy. You literally, no qualms about it. With Mailata at the left tackle, then with those 4, really good guys who've started for the past 4 years together. This could be a really good starting offensive line that could keep him upright. It'll just be his skill set that'll keep him as a starter. Look everywhere else. They got speed at receiver. They got a pretty good running back. They got a pretty good tight end in Goddard. And who knows if they let Zach Ertz go or not. I think they'll be cool at that position. But to look at the defensive side of the ball, they just can't. I'm going to be holding my breath. I'm going to have my thumbs out. My stomach's going to be curling every third down.
Drinking your infused vodka.
Right, my infused vodka before the post-game show. I got to make it happen, man. Just because I can't stand DBs that we have right now, they're going to be starting.
Wow, I can't wait for that.
Eytan's making me dizzy, guys. Now you know what it's like doing a show with him every day. You see him down here in this lower box here? I'm getting seasick.
Gentlemen, I'm going to chime in here real quick, and I'm tired of talking about the Eagles. We're beating the dead horse. I'd sometimes like to talk about the Eagles, but not all the time. And actually, I'm getting sick too, just looking at Eytan. I feel like I'm on a bad episode of Crocodile Hunter. So I'm trying to watch everybody else, and I'm watching him down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Let me ask the three. Let's get on the Sixers just for a minute here, because the Sixers are in full swing. And I tried to tell these guys before, the one thing I was always concerned about with the Sixers is one of the three are always hurt. They have a propensity to get hurt. And I always said, if Embiid is the one that goes down, they are screwed. If he cannot come back, do they beat the Atlanta Hawks?
Oh, you better ask Barrett that first and foremost.
Yeah, Barrett thinks it's going to be easy.
You know, it's never easy, but we're looking at a situation. I'm looking at this Atlanta Hawk team, and to me, you know, we just went against two of the best guards in basketball, you know. And so when I look at just Trae Young, and then I see a bunch of guys that just are just guys, I don't feel as though our this team is really in a position where they can go out and handle what we have as far as, you know, offensive and defensive prowess, going forward. I mean, we just shut down one of the best guards in the league who can put up 55 at any point. Trae, okay, he's put up 30. I mean, we're talking about, you know, true guards like, you
You're
know,
disrespecting Trae Young. You just don't like his hair.
Yeah.
Can they beat?
We're not going to get into that
without Embiid?
I think they can, but it's going to take. I think they can, but it's going to take 6 or 7 games. They're not going to dispose of them in 4 or 5 without the big man.
Okay, all right then. So at this point, you know, look at our lineup. At this point, who are going to stop our guys? That's what I want to know. You know, we're talking about us just stopping Trae Young. I mean, who's going to stop, you know, the offensive firepower we have? I mean, Curry can light it up anytime. You know,
last night was an aberration. Last night was he's not Steph Curry. He's Seth Curry.
Danny Green showed up, and it's very sporadic. And look, when Tobias Harris has an off night and you don't have Embiid, what do? You have to manufacture. It's like small ball in baseball, right? You just have to work for possessions. You have to get Korkmaz looks. You have to continue to go back to guys who might be struggling in Curry and or Green and just hope it works. Now, Tobias still going to get looks and all, but the problem is now you have a guy in Capella without Embiid who can run unchecked, keep possessions alive, also make it difficult around the rim. Here's the bottom line, though, and Barrett's right in this regard. We saw how dangerous stars are in the playoffs if you let a bad team hang around. Now, Atlanta's better than Washington night and day, but you let Atlanta hang around, it's a 6-point game with 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes left. At that point, it doesn't matter what you've done to get there. It just matters, what do you do to stop Trae Young? And you're right, like, we've got a lot of firepower to watch on the Sixers standpoint, but they've got a guy that is going to be buckets, and that's what you have to match, bucket for bucket. They can do it, but without Embiid, that becomes a problem.
All I'm going to say is this: Tobias Harris was an anomaly that he played the way he played on Game 4. I mean, if you look at his consistency throughout the year and even throughout these playoffs, he's not going to go in and have 8.6 points a game. He's going to average double digits, you know, probably in the mid to high 20s. You know, because that's just been his role, especially with Embiid being out. Now you look at what they have. Okay, they have.
That was there last night for him.
No, he got 28. You know, I just feel as though he didn't. With what?
No, I'm saying early on there was the opportunity for him to take over the offense. And
he didn't have to.
Well, yes, he did. They were down.
Eytan's angry because they didn't take the lead in the first 6 minutes and just blitzed the team by 50. He's all pissed off that it took him until the third quarter.
I got no problem with Ben Simmons. That's my dude. I'm just saying, as far as the team itself, like, come on, man. This is the worst team in the playoffs. Washington was the worst team in the playoffs.
I beg to differ.
Me with his crap about you needing 3 quarters.
I think Atlanta is the worst team in the playoffs.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
You guys are just looking at one guy doing it. One guy.
They got Bogey. They got Bogey. They're going to start using him more.
Bogdanovich. So you really think that Maxey and if you Bogdanovich and Maxey, who wins that battle?
Bogdanovich. He has more experience.
Oh my God.
Bogey averages like 20 points in the last 2 months of the season. Maxey.
So all right. So this is what we're gonna do. When this series is over, we're gonna meet right back again 6:30 on on
You're
the
committing
night.
me for more work, Barrett?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Let's do it, baby.
Nobody's saying that the Sixers are
do
going to lose, right? Nobody thinks the Sixers are going to lose this series. It was just a hypothetical without Embiid, right, guys?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, and before I let Fuji go here, and I got into an argument with my adopted internet sensation son, the college sophomore Nick Lisi, about going forward if Embiid can't go. Are you continue to play Ben Simmons at center, or are you mixing Dwight Howard in there and let him play down in the box?
You got to mix
If it's
it up.
Atlanta, you
Big
got to
time.
go Howard. Howard's got to get a lot of minutes. You have
I
to
go
neutralize
Simmons.
Capella.
Yeah, but the only
Look,
thing
I don't trust Ben. Capella's a leading rebounder. I mean, the guy is legit, and he can make life difficult. I just don't think it's honestly. Me personally, I would put more minutes on Howard, and then you're probably going to have to do the unthinkable and maybe possibly play a little more minutes for Mike Scott. And I hate that just came out of my mouth, but that's kind of the reality. Look, Simmons at the 5 works, but not against good centers. You're not going to put him against Gobert. You're not going to put him against Jokic, right?
Dwight will end up with 5 fouls in his first 14 minutes.
Make life difficult for Capella. Put him on the ground a couple of times.
Well, at the end of the day, we haven't even had to use George Hill in that type of capacity. We haven't even looked at Furkan. Furkan.
Oh, he loves Furkan.
I mean, he can light up.
Wait a second. Hit us
We
with
haven't looked
Shake
for him
Milton
yet.
next.
And Shake is still, he's coming off he hasn't even had to go out there and score. Man, we forget about what Shake did the middle part of this season. When Embiid went out for those 10 games, what did Shake do? In the middle 10 games, when Embiid was out, who took over for the most part as far as bringing those extra buckets in? Shake Milton.
He has played himself out of that rotation, Barrett. All your love in the world ain't changing that.
Oh my goodness! A ball player knows a ball player. I'm telling you.
Sixers signing George Hill was like the Chiefs signing Le'Veon Bell. What a joke!
Hey, never got any playing time.
I forgot where I was at. I'm in Philly. I forgot where I'm in Philly. You know what I'm saying? I forgot. My fault.
Barrett, the guy below you is a ring chaser with the Chiefs.
I ain't mad.
Oh yeah, ring it. Here we go. Get that 10W40 out of your hair.
Right, yeah.
Change it every 3,000 miles. Guys, let's make a prediction with the 3 of you gentlemen.
All right.
6.
Okay.
How many games of the Sixers is it going to take to beat Atlanta?
I'll say 6.
Are we assuming Embiid's out game 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be out in game 1.
Yeah.
I say game 2 also.
No, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I asked, because I think they win game.
Too much indecision.
Well, no, I always look at it, Ryan, from a betting standpoint. Like, if I'm going to give you a prediction, I also want to bet it, too. So I don't want to just half-ass it for you. Look, I would take the Sixers in 6 right now, winning 4-2, but I wouldn't be surprised if the majority think they win in 5. Look, it's not going 7. We know it's not going 7, but without Embiid for 2 games, which is why I ask about game 1, because if he's out 1, he's probably going to be out. Good shot will be out, too, since they'll win game 1. I could see them splitting here in Philly winning 2, Atlanta. I could see 6. I'll say 4-2.
Okay. Just to keep it fascinating here, Hawks are plus 170 to win the series. Philadelphia 76ers are minus 208 according to BetMGM. So
let's get that bet in.
Look how low that is. Plus 170? That's ridiculous. Come on. Joel Embiid's healthy. What's that number?
Oh,
220?
Oh yeah, easy.
And it wouldn't be 11. It wouldn't be just 2. You know what I'm saying? Even with them playing at home, that's disrespectful that they're only going to win by 2 points, man. That
Look
line
at
is
Barrett the tout. I love it. Barrett's out here touting.
That's disrespectful, bro. So at this point, you know what I'm saying? They're actually saying that, Atlanta's going to win by 1. That's BS, man. Let's go. If I got to go out there and kick somebody's ass, man, and make them start playing, man, I'm going to do it, bro.
Yes.
Tell Doc Rivers, you could be Barry. You could be right next to Doc Rivers, just like what was it, Drake during the Toronto series?
Yeah. No question.
Right here with Doc.
Yeah,
Rivers.
he'll be like, put in Shake.
And you know my office.
Shaking.
My office is right next. My office is right across the way from him too. Right across the way.
stick Barrett in security. Next time a fan tries to pull his shit off, put Barrett up in the stand.
Right.
Start throwing some of these bums out.
Right.
Like you said on the show this morning, Eytan, all these crumbs.
Yes. Yes.
Get rid of
Get
these
'em out.
crumb bums.
Hey,
Drag them
I
out
mean,
like the bums that they are.
Yes.
Every once in a while, they should just let somebody go up into the stands, an athlete, and just beat the shit out of them.
Like Ron Artest, Ben Wallace.
But if that's the way it's going to go sometimes, guess what? Just let security ease them up to where the fan is, and whatever goes, goes. I'm the old school. Something like that would have happened 30 years ago. Guess what would have happened to that fan? They would have had to live in hell, beat the hell out of them.
Bro, I've been a part of it before. I mean, I'm playing with the Steelers, man, and a fan. We're playing in Cleveland, and a fan ran across the field in Cleveland, and as soon as he ran across Harrison, picked him up and dumped him like it was a WWF move.
We're up against the break,
right on his
Barrett.
head. Let's go, man. I can't wait.
That's the only thing that was good about the cardboard cutouts. You never had any fan incidents. Right.
It's true. That's definitely true.
So everything opens up and everybody's going batshit.
Oh,
crazy
no.
now.
Got to.
What the hell?
Oh, man, that's great.
If that's good, you guys want to get
the
the other one going there, Fuji? Come back when the series is over, come back and watch him getting fired up because it won't take him much. Matter of fact, it's something just as small as that because it reminds him of Harry Rosen.
He rang the
So
bell.
when he hears the bell, it's the Harry Rosen bell just going off in his head. Well, listen, thank you guys. I know you have to run because you have other things to do tonight, so we do appreciate it. Harry, Eytan, and Barrett Brooks, we do appreciate you guys.
Thanks for coming on, guys.
Again,
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. No, anytime, guys. Really, this is great. You guys are doing good work too, and anytime you can fit this many heads, this much personality on a screen, it's a good thing. So keep it up, fellas. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
See you guys.
So everyone check out the middle show Monday through Friday from 11 to 1 on YouTube. And again, if you go onto the handle, it's the middle show _ click on the link and you guys go to Spotify, YouTube, and I know I'm missing one else. What was the last one? Spotify, YouTube.
YouTube's fine.
YouTube. That's where.
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
a big thing. YouTube's good.
No Twitch?
No.
Nah, we're YouTube. It's Jacob Media is the YouTube page.
Okay.
So that's where we have Birds 365. We've got shows on there too. So that's the easiest thing to do is just subscribe to that page and then you'll know everything.
Perfect.
Now, Harry's going to rip me if I didn't say all that. So I wanted to make sure I got it all out there.
See what I got to deal with, guys, every day? See what I got to deal with.
God bless you.
Wait a second. He's the guy that said the Hawks are the worst team in the playoffs. You see what we have to deal with every day?
I stand by it, too. Watch what I tell you.
Wow.
I've heard you guys go back and forth every day.
See?
It's
Get
great.
it back to the Eagles, Barrett.
That's right.
And check your email.
Guys. Yeah.
All right,
Later, guys. Peace.
Take it easy.
See you guys.
Take care. Have a good one.
Peace
Thank you.
Have a good one. Wow.
So that was pretty explosive. Thanks to Harry Mayes, Eytan Shander, and Barrett Brooks for coming on. Again, the middle show, you guys check it out. It's a great show. You guys can catch between 11 and 1 in the afternoon. So, I mean, Philly, if you look at it, they got a good lineup in the morning between WIP, between the middle show. Who else am I missing? I mean, you got just a huge lineup here in Philly. It's not to say just because, any other city, anywhere where anyone resides, doesn't have a great lineup. But when it comes to Philadelphia, I mean, you talk about sports in a blue-collar city that live, eat, breathe, and die, between red, orange, green, and God knows what at this point, even blue for the Union. I mean, you name it. You will never find a collective group of guys anywhere like what you just heard just now with the three gentlemen that we just had on. But not only that, I mean, you're talking about Jimmy's show in the morning, from 10 to 2. I mean, it's just there's so many people that come on, and Philly Market Radio is it's absolutely phenomenal. So the one thing I was going to leave the guys with was just a little bit of some since the Sixers did so well, and I know most people didn't expect for the Sixers to pass the first round, which I don't know why, but since
That's 9, 8, 76. This is for you, Neff.
Philadelphia,
76ers.
everybody.
Ryan's gonna come back here as soon as there it is.
Hey, Duck, don't quit school. Where are your glasses at?
Oh, I left them downstairs.
Damn, how'd you forget that?
Yeah,
You're the ducky.
I know.
Ducky, quack, quack, my man. Come on.
That's right.
But we're looking at as we continue to talk a little bit here about the Sixers. Joel Embiid. So I just want to know here from the panel, Ryan, and you can chime in as well. I know you may not be a humongous Sixers fan, but
he
you
loves
did talk
the
about
Sixers.
as far as the series itself and what was going to end up happening. Someone was going to end up getting hurt. Joel Embiid is hurt now. It's expected only maybe 1 game, 2 games max. It's going to be day to day. Apparently, it's not a complete tear. And Sherman, I'll start off with you. Does Doc Rivers have enough on this team right now to get through the Atlanta Hawks?
I think that they do have enough to get by the Atlanta Hawks. Ultimately, the biggest prize is to win the Larry O'Brien trophy for the NBA title. And I think that the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to go over is if they beat the Hawks and they win or the Nets Bucks series. I think if they find a way to win the Nets and Hawks series, whoever they play, then they win the NBA title. I really do, but I don't think that they're going to beat the Nets or the Bucks. Whoever wins that series is going to beat the Sixers. I think the Sixers-Hawks series is going to go 7 games because of Embiid's health situation.
Yeah.
If Embiid is healthy, I think it's a completely different situation. I think the Sixers find a way to pull it out with home court in Game 7. But unfortunately, they're going to run into the Nets and the Bucks barring some sort of major injury. And I think that the winner of that Nets-Bucks series will be the representative in the Eastern Conference for the finals.
All right, listen, I think so too. Barbara, I didn't forget about your comment here. So don't forget the Phillies did great the last game. That was an onslaught last night. Thank God, 17 runs will end up taking it. Christina, thank you so much for watching the show. Great show. Thank you so much. Again, hi to Marina as well. Dave Wallencheck. And Dave, I did not forget about the thing you asked me to do, so don't worry. I'll be doing it as soon as this show's over. So let's not forget Dave Wallencheck. And I wish I had actually right now. I don't have the logo up. Dave Wallencheck from Redline LLC. There's a new show he's starting off on Sunday night from 8 to 9. I'll put the promo as soon as we're done here. It's about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And good Lord, if Dave, you're still up here, because the Pittsburgh Renegades, I want to say, I know I'm wrong. So Dave, you're still listening. Let me know. But again, and Randy, by the way, thank you for chiming in as well tonight. But listen, Sherman and Fuji, same exact way here. So we know Joel Embiid. It's unfortunate for the Sixers that it's year after year that we see injuries continue to plague the city of Philadelphia. Like every sports team, for some ungodly reason, that bug does not want to leave. And maybe we need to win another championship for that to happen. I mean, at least, thank God we got a coach into the Basketball Hall of Fame. But it just, with Joel Embiid, I'm not too worried about Doc Rivers not being able to make the adjustments necessary, basically for Trae Young, if you really look at it when it comes to the Hawks. I mean, there's not much. I don't expect for it to be an easy win. Don't get me wrong. I think the first 3 games are going to be challenging, more than especially game 1, because the Atlanta Hawks are going to do everything they possibly can. Probably to double up Ben Simmons, even though you really don't have to double up on Ben. But I think Atlanta is going to throw at least everything that they have on game 1, so that obviously they can go back, watch the footage, and make the necessary adjustments for game 2. Doc Rivers, he's been put in places like this before with the former teams he had coached beforehand. I know he was also getting upset because people keep harping upon, is Ben going to make the threes? What's going on with Ben and his foul shots? What's up with Ben? I know he doesn't want to throw Ben under the bus either, but at the same time, too, as fans, everybody's wondering if Ben is going to show up also for round 2. So, Fuji, I'll throw the question to you. Ben Simmons, we know that he can be an all-around player. We've seen it at least the last game exiting out to win the series. Ben's, at least he stepped up, obviously, with Seth Curry. So we want to see what's going to happen here in round 2. First of all, does Ben step up even more than what he just did, knowing that Joel Embiid is going to be out? And do the Sixers take game 1?
Well, not only Ben, everybody's going to have to step up. Like you had 6 guys in double figures last night. Danny Green, Seth Curry, Tyrese Maxey has been stepping up the last couple games. Like Doc's going to need his bench to step up without Embiid. Dwight Howard's, he's going to have to, even though he's older, he's going to have to play some longer minutes and stuff. And Tobias Harris, everybody's going to have, it's a team effort. Everybody's going to have to bring their A+ game and step up and take Atlanta to school. That's just my opinion. It's a team effort. So, Doc has these guys a lot better than the last couple years. I mean, he's a real coach. He's a proven winner, and he's got it. He's embedded this philosophy into these guys. So until JoJo comes back, hey, everybody needs to step up to the plate and bring their A game.
Right.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Well, look, I want to chime in a little bit here. I think the Sixers will win. I think that their front, at least their starters, are a little bit more talented than Atlanta, and they have a little bit more experience, which Atlanta doesn't have. But I also think this is a great matchup for Philly because, right, you have Trae Young, but the Sixers have two incredible all first team like defenders in Simmons and Thibault to throw at Trae Young nonstop. Like Trae Young is going to be guarded by Thibault or Simmons, I think, the entire time. And then, the Sixers, they've got a little bit of I think the shooting is what's going to kill them, because if you play Howard and Simmons at the same time, you can't do that. I think NBA nowadays, you have to have at least 4 shooters on the floor for the spacing. But I think Sixers in 6 or Sixers in 7 would be a situation where I could see it happening. I think Embiid probably won't play the rest of the playoffs. I'm not reporting that, but I mean Embiid's got a tear in his meniscus. Like that's a hard injury to come back from. But I'm super excited for this series. I think Trae Young's going to keep doing Trae Young things and keep dancing on his haters and having a great time. But overall, I think this will be a really good series, and I think it'll go further than hopefully 4 or 5 games.
I'm shocked that's coming from a Nets fan. No, I'm just kidding.
Nets Bucks will be a way more interesting series. Don't get me wrong, because there's just more talent on the floor. But I mean, that Sixers Hawks series without Embiid is going to be a fascinating one to watch.
Right, well,
no, most definitely will.
Not too sure if anybody out there can that's listening to the show here live. If you're hearing an echo, let us know. My producer was just telling me that you can hear an echo. So I don't know, Nick, if it's coming from you or not, but apparently there's an echo that's coming in somewhat particularly bad. But she said it did clear up. So if anyone's listening right now, let us know in the comments there. So Neff, as we're talking about the Sixers here, Ducky was letting us know that the Sixers are going to win in 5 from what he was telling us. And why do I have now a double Ryan?
6.
Yes. Let me get off my phone because it's not going to last. So okay. Peace out. I'm going to.
Peace. I was really excited to hear his Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons lineup on the block, post up 20, 30 times a game like we're back in 1985. But we'll see. We'll see him in a second.
You wish you remembered that team in 1985.
Yeah,
Doc Moses, Barkley, Mo Cheeks.
Last time they swept the team, right, in the playoffs was the 1985 Philadelphia 76ers. So,
yes, sir.
All right. Well, so listen, it's probably the most exciting that we've seen Philly in a while. And I know, especially now that the fans are able to come back. What is it, June 11th, I believe, back in Philly when everything goes back to 100% as far as the stadiums?
It's supposed to be 100% last night at the Wells Fargo. I think they moved it up.
Did they? Oh yeah, no, I did,
so.
Because originally you're right. Because originally
moved it up yesterday.
So we'll see it tomorrow. Tomorrow night?
Sunday. 1:00. All
right. So for those, and it goes just to show you how many freaking the days of the week here that goes on rotation for me to remember who's on what and the different days. But it's good to see once again that obviously the fans being back out there, and it does make a difference if anyone's following, especially between the NBA and the NHL playoffs. It is a humongous difference, and people can say whatever they want to. When you have the fans back in the stands, there is nothing like it, especially if your team is down. I mean, you look at Montreal, switching over to NHL here real quick before we go back, but you look at Montreal, 3 games to 1 series down, comes back to win 4-3, and then turns right around and wins it again last night. So the fans make a humongous difference. Just like on shows anywhere else, if you don't have the fans, it's kind of tough to do it. I know they had to do it in the bubble. There was crowd noise pumped in, all the good fun stuff, but there's nothing like having the fans in the stands. And I'm just hoping that now that it's back to 100% capacity, the Wells fills to that 100%, even though I know the tickets are expensive, but I'm hoping that the Wells will be completely filled. So, Ryan, looking into the Atlanta Sixers series, what say you when it comes to the Sixers and possibly, and I know we just talked about it with Barrett Brooks, Harry Mayes, and Eytan Shander, but how do you feel as far as the Sixers looking in going into round 2, and let's just say hypothetically without Joel Embiid?
If without Joel Embiid,
yeah,
it goes. I'm going to be one of those who say it goes 7. If Embiid comes back, 5 or 6. But like Fuji and I were talking about yesterday, meniscus tears, whether they're minor or major, they're nothing to play with. So you can best believe they're going to bring him back really slow, and it's not something that heals really quick. Now they might say he's out tonight. I'd be hard, or whenever they play the Hawks, whenever the first game is. I would be hard pressed to say he plays the first 2 games. They'll probably reevaluate him going into game 3. But if he's out the whole series, and I know what everybody's saying that, Simmons will still be Simmons and Harris will still be Harris. You're not going to get that out of Curry and Maxey all the time. You're just not. If Embiid doesn't come back for this series, don't be too surprised if the Hawks win it in 7. I know I'm going to get lambasted by all the Sixers fans, but Joel Embiid is he is the main piston in the engine. Your main piston's gone now. Now you're running on 7 cylinders instead of 8. And that 8th one's the main cylinder. So we'll just have to see what happens. If the Hawks steal the first game, look out.
If you're an organization like the Sixers, do you risk bringing Embiid back too early and furthering his damage to his knee at this point with the opportunity to potentially win a championship this year? Or do you just put him on the shelf and see what happens?
I don't think so. To me, and Fuji, we can both chime in here at the same time, but I think to me, if I'm the Sixers organization, and unless I have a really strong belief and a really strong push that Joel can do it, I would do everything I possibly can to get through the next series without Joel. And if it looks like, if he feels, and we know that players are going to go in there, they're going to say there's nothing wrong, they can play, so on and so forth. But to me, it's one of those things that I believe if Joel feels that he can come in for the next series and he feels fine, then let the man play. I don't know if you'll put him in, as many minutes he's been playing throughout the season and during the playoffs, minus the injury. But to me, I think if you can make it past the Hawks, then depending who you have in the next round, again, this is, just a foregone conclusion here, but depending who you have for the next round, to me, yeah, you bring Joel Embiid back. But if you can find that formula to beat the Hawks, and let's just say, I don't know, 4-2, let's say it goes, goes 6 games, 4-2, you're able to do it. Maybe then you'll be able to do it again on the next round. So I don't know. Good question here, Sherman.
It is a great question because that's the conversation I had with Ryan last night. I mean, God forbid, do you really want to damage Joe's knee? Like, that tear could get worse. God forbid, going, for years to come for his career. And, it's a catch-22. I mean, do you want to win now? And if Joe's unhealthy, then you may want to think about next year. I mean, who the hell knows where this team will – you don't know where this team's going to be. You don't know how far they will go without Joe.
And wasn't this the classic situation with the Washington Nationals when they shut down Steven Strasburg because of the fact that they assumed that the Nationals were going to be competitive for like years to come, and the Nationals didn't sniff the playoffs for like a hot minute until they finally won the World Series a couple of years ago. But still, here in Philadelphia, when the Nationals decided to shut down Steven Strasburg because of the fact that, he had some arm soreness or whatever his situation was, he was getting torched in Philadelphia. Like, how could you shut him down? You never know how long that window of opportunity is going to be open for a team in professional sports. And here's the window for the Philadelphia 76ers right now. And Embiid has to be part of that conversation. I hope he has a lot of insurance, because if the Sixers decide that we're going to try to push to try to win the championship this year for the 2020-2021 series, and he further damages himself that he's not the same Embiid next year, that could be a huge problem.
Let's take it back to the 2004 Eagles when T.O. broke his leg. Everybody basically was writing the season off. Had the operation, came back within like 4 to 5 weeks with the rod in his leg, and he should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl if the Eagles won. Just like the 2017 Eagles. Carson Wentz goes down, Nick Foles steps right in, and everybody stepped up, and guess what? and won the Super Bowl, but different sport, but it's all about heart and fire. You can have all the talent in the world. And, these guys need, the general's been shot. It's time to rally the troops, fire everybody up, get everybody. It's a team sport. You don't have your big gun. You got to go out and win how you can. It don't matter. Doc, like I said, Doc embedded this mentally into these guys. So that's how it's a team effort. Everybody's going to have to step up and go for dinner and kick some ass and take names later.
If the Sixers can somehow build a 3-1 series lead without Embiid, I say you shelve Embiid for the rest of the series, unless the Hawks come back and tie it, let's say 3-3. If it's 3-3, you have a game at home, then you fire up the big fella and say, give us all you can this particular game so we can get to the next round. But even if they can build a 2-0 lead, get through the next two games. If you go up 2-0 at home and you're going to Atlanta with that 2-0 lead, game 3, I still say you keep Embiid down. This is the kind of injury, and I'm telling you, it's nothing to mess with. Because if he does come back too early to try to prove himself, to have one of those Willis Reed kind of moments, throughout the NBA playoffs. Nick, you don't have any. You can look it up. You're the young buck. Look Willis Reed up. Google it. But
look it up, Junior.
I know Willis Reed.
Okay.
Willis Reed, Joel Embiid, Sam Snead. Check out your feed. This is what we need. We want the Sixers to win the NBA championship. Get out there and
you don't want a Kevin Durant situation or a Curry situation a couple of years ago where they brought those guys back too quick. And look what happened. He's the franchise. I know people hate that word. They don't use it anymore. It doesn't get floated around a lot. Embiid is the cornerstone of this basketball team for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years. If you mess with what's going on in that knee and you bring him way back too quickly, you're asking for trouble. You really are.
This is why they brought Dwight Howard in. I mean, the guy's a champion. He's got experience. Just gets in a lot of foul trouble sometimes, but he needs to step up his game. He's been there. He's got the rock, so he knows what it takes to win.
And to your point, Fuge, there's a reason why you have depth on the bench.
Exactly.
Now's the time to bring everybody out. Everybody knows what their role is going to be going forward. You've got this the playoffs, man.
Well,
you've got to empty the shelves because there's no
all or nothing.
Use
that's why I said.
Do what you
have
to do.
That's why I said. General's been shot. It's time to rally the troops. Everybody, these guys are veterans. Besides a couple like Maxey and a couple other guys. I mean, they've been there. They know what it takes to win.
Maxey might have came in as a rookie, but he's definitely not coming out of this season as a rookie. He's definitely, earning.
No, he stepped up his game big time.
Absolutely.
Those Kentucky guards are just built differently. Just ask Devin Booker.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, listen. I hope Lord, I hope that the Sixers move on, and more than anything else, I hope that we play the Nets just so we can send Ducky packing. I already told him I'm going to put him to sleep. I'm going to give him a bib and a pacifier and everything else. So we'll see. We will see, because I know he's crazy hard up on his Brooklyn Nets, but it's okay. It's all right. But Brooklyn, and listen, and switching over to New York, and of course I'm teasing Ducky here, but what in the world? So the Knicks fans, what in the world did they think that the Knicks were actually going to win a series? And then they act like they've been going back to their playoffs after being there. I don't know. I think as long as VCR tapes was around, I believe that's the last time the Knicks
2013. 2013. That's not too long ago.
2015.
2013.
2013. Listen, that's eons ago. Okay, think about it.
I was alive.
It's many years ago, right? Many years ago. But it cracks me up how the Knicks fans, they just thought they've been there, they've done that, and they're going to advance to the next round. I'm not taking anything away from what the Knicks did, because I didn't think the Knicks were actually going to go as far as they did this year. So I applaud the Knicks fans if there's people out there from New York listening. But I'm quite sure Knicks come next year, they may be a legitimate team come next year. And Ducky, if I were the Brooklyn Nets, I wouldn't guarantee myself with your powerhouse three there, because I also don't believe that Harden hangs around, because you're talking about three individuals that 2 out of the 3 can barely get along. You're talking about a 3-headed monster that's going to be there. If anything, if I was James Harden, I might end up going over to Manhattan and playing with the New York Knicks. But
he can't do that. He can't. He's under contract for 2 more years. He can't do that.
And he shouldn't win it in Houston, didn't he? Where's he?
Yeah, well, he asked out. I mean, this is a great big 3 right here. They're all loving each other, and
for now,
if anything, Kyrie is going to be the one that doesn't hold up because he's the third option. But I mean, it is what it is. I actually was curious what your guys' thoughts were on Coach K announcing his retirement. I mean, that's a huge deal.
I knew that was going to come up sooner. I knew it was going to come up sooner or later.
Sure, you're a lifelong Duke fan. Like, what are your thoughts?
Ask the Puke fan.
Yeah, I mean, Coach K has been an icon of college basketball for years. Maybe he's getting ready for his hair to just naturally turn gray. I mean, it's amazing that that hair has stayed the color that it has stayed for all of these years.
Oh, man.
ACC basketball has been fantastic for so long. I know that the Duke Blue Devils had a bad season last year in the COVID-shortened season, but there was a tournament, and the Duke Blue Devils were not in the tournament. They had a chance. They won a couple games in the ACC tournament, but, ultimately did not advance into the big dance of 64, 68, or however many teams were in there. But good for him. He's had a successful career at Duke. I guess it's just a sign of the times that, some of the big coaches in college basketball are leaving. Roy Williams is no longer coaching. Now it's Coach K's turn to leave. Bobby Knight is no longer coaching, right? So who knows who's going to be next? It'll definitely be a major farewell tour for Coach K wherever he goes, and well received. I don't think that he's somebody who's trying to steal the limelight for any reason whatsoever. He just decided that, hey, this is going to be my last year, and I'm announcing it now. So if he gets a little bit of fanfare at Wake Forest, UNC, or any of those other places where he's playing, so be it. But kudos to him for a successful career.
Yeah, successful is an understatement.
As far as for me, Coach K, I can get from you from Coach K, and it's upsetting to me. I think it's one of those things that, it's we saw Roy Williams leave. And I want to get to also the Boston controversy. At least that's what that seems like to me. But to me, it's one of those things that Coach K, yes, I know I heard like earlier today on Sean Salisbury, he talked about that, should have, and I believe Andy Kalu talked about it on the show that followed, that should have Coach K waited until the season was over and then announced his retirement. Now, everybody does it completely differently. I don't think he did it personally for, I want all the gifts and awards and everything else, whatever, stadium that I go to, everybody's going to tell me thank you, because no matter what, he's going to get it anyways. But to me, he'll be well missed. And interesting to see who's going to be picked up as the coach to be for Coach K.
They already announced it.
Yeah. Let me find his name.
Yeah, my prediction is that it was going to be Grant Hill, but it's not. I think it's supposed to be John Shire.
Yep, John Shire. That's right. I mean, imagine that guy got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame before I was born, and then he had a great career after I was born. Like that. I mean, that's nuts. That's absolutely ridiculous that a guy, can be around that long, and it just, I don't know, it's crazy. But let's move on to Boston, because I feel like that one did not hit the headlights hard enough. What are your guys' thoughts on Ainge stepping down the day after the season ending? Was it a surprise or no? Oh, Neff, you're a Celtics fan. Neff, you're a Celtics fan. What were your thoughts?
I know that's. I see you smiling up there. Look, Danny Ainge should have been gone a long time ago. Flat out, period. He's done some great things for the organization. Don't get me wrong, but the time has passed him by. I don't think the players relate to Brad Stevens anymore, and I think Brad Stevens is a hell of a coach. Now, for Brad Stevens to be bumped up to the general manager in the front office, that pisses me off, because the guy has absolutely no experience whatsoever.
Right.
I'm sure there's a hell of a lot more qualified candidates. And look, this is the reason why my Boston Celtics only have one title since 1986, because they always seem to blow it. They got screwed in the draft in 1997 when they could have had the number 1 pick, but the lottery screwed them. They could have had Tim Duncan with the number 1 pick. It's mind-blowing to me. Had they gotten Tim Duncan, where that organization would be now. Everybody, Nick, you can't go back this far, but Reggie Lewis, the kid from Northeastern, he had sort of a Len Bias kind of heart condition.
Len Bias.
Well, it wasn't Len Bias. I think it was Reggie. Was it Reggie Lewis?
Yeah, he had the heart attack on the court.
Exactly. They just seem to have all that Irish luck that they had for decades and decades. It's just like the last 3 decades, they just don't seem to have any luck. And they had a great season in the bubble last year. Don't get me wrong. And everybody expected great things after that bubble season that they had. And it just did not pan out. Now, it'll be interesting to see what kind of Brad Stevens the moves that he makes, because he's going to be on the hot spot right away. They don't have a true center. I think that's what's been killing them. They don't have an Embiid. They don't have a Jokic. They don't have a Nurkic and a Cantor. So it'll be interesting to see. And Brad Stevens is throwing, and he's already come out with big statements. We win the 18th title, or we're going to die trying. It's a lot to say when you're a Celtics fan and you're listening to this based on what the history is. If you don't produce another championship real quick after that kind of statement, your ass is going to be out in the street. So, I mean, as a Celtics fan, I hope he does great things. I, to be honest with you, I just don't think it's going to pan out, because he's going to find out real quick.
My old team's my Boston.
Grandfather.
That's a good reason. That's a good reason. What do you think the Celtics should do? What do you think Stevens should do? He's in a sticky situation. Kemba Walker's making $37 million for the next 2 years. And I think right now the only option they really have is, they're going to try to trade him, but they want to trade smart too. Like, as a Celtics organization, what do you do? They're kind of trapped.
They need to bring in a good, viable center, a space eater, somebody that can defend. Hey, Tatum's fantastic. Tatum is fantastic. Right. He is going to be a superstar. Yeah, Marcus Smart, all the other guys. They just don't have a true big. They need a true big. That'll help the other guys out. But when you feel like you have to do it all and you have to protect the rim and defend and score, they just Denver has Nurkic. They have the Joker.
Jokic.
You just look around the league. That Sixers have Embiid. That's what they've been lacking for years and years and years. When they won the title back in 2008, Garnett played like a center. Garnett was like 6'11". He was lanky. He could defend the rim. So it was different. But they also, they had Paul Pierce and
Kendrick Perkins.
So it was a little bit different story. And then the following year, they played back to back, where I think they won, they missed, and then they came back and they played the Lakers again when Kobe got over the hump again to win a championship. But you can't keep relying on that. And Kevin Garnett, as far as I'm concerned, is the closest Taco Fall. The guy's like 7'4". He looks like the hands at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. That's how skinny he is. So he's like 7'3", 7'4". He probably weighs like $185 or whatever.
He's 300 pounds. He's over 300 pounds.
Is that what it says? They don't.
Yeah, he's over 300.
They don't. All right. So, but when you see him, he looks.
Yeah,
really
that's what happens. But
that's kind of shocking to me that it says he's over. That's what it says, though, right on the program.
Wait,
that's what it says.
Let me get you an official number.
He's 300 pounds. He's 300.
He's 311 pounds. He's 311 pounds.
Well, for those,
but they barely use him. They barely use him.
Yeah, because he can't move. He can't move. Like, he's got to guard. They put him in a pick and roll, and he can't guard.
The new ball was 7'6". The guy couldn't move. He just stood there in front of the basket. Go ahead, try and shoot it.
Well, that was 25 years. That was over 30 years ago, man. They can't use him. They need someone who can shoot at center. They do need a center. They need a big, but they don't need a canner who's gonna sit in the paint and do nothing. They need a guy who can shoot. That's why Brad Stevens was so mad at Danny Ainge he didn't trade for Miles Turner, because that's what they need. They need a guy who's 7 foot, can shoot and can protect the rim. That's what they need. They don't need some guy who's going to clog the paint and take 35 possessions in the post.
Hey, Nick, you're talking old school. And Sherman, Fuji, and Angel can attest to this. I'll tell you what. I would rather have a big that's 7 feet tall that scored 4 points a game, but swatted 8 shots a game away from the basket and grabbed 18, 17 rebounds a game. All right, go out and score your 2 buckets. As long as you can swat the ball away from the basket, you grab me 15, 16, 17 rebounds a game, I'll take it. Because the Celtics don't have it.
They do need that. But they need someone who can shoot at that spot too. Because I think we've learned that they need someone who can shoot. Who do you hire as the next coach, though? They don't have a coach? What do you think coach-wise?
The center is a lost art, though. There's not a whole lot of true bigs anymore that can play like that because they're not asked to. Who would I hire as coach? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I've said for years, and I know the man will not do it because of the experience he had with the Pacers. I think Larry Bird would be a hell of a GM for the Boston Celtics. Maybe not a coach, but I think he would put them back on the map. He knows the culture. He's a legend. He's an icon, but he won't do it because he does not want to tarnish his legacy in Boston. So just like Phil Jackson, he was on the championship teams with the Knicks. He comes back in the front office or whatnot. The fans hated his ass. They got him the hell
Rick
out
Pitino.
of there they could. What's that?
Said Rick Pitino. Call him up.
No.
He's at plus 4,000 to be the next Celtics head coach.
He was already coach of Boston.
He is no.
Bring him back.
He's not going to coach the Celtics. I would go after Nate McMillan. He relates to the players. He's a hell of a coach. He knows his crap when it comes to basketball. And I would like to see, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would really like for them to have him on the bullseye for the next coach. That's who I would go after first. And then I don't know who you go after that. I would target it on him, do what you have to do to bring him in. I think he'll be a successful coach. And he can relate to Brad Stevens. Look, this is what it's going to take. This is what we need for my system. And, take it from there. But that's who I would go after personally.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
We have a couple of minutes left here, so I want to bring up one is Sean Hintz. I saw him come back here momentarily. Says, shout out to Mike Estabrook. If I said the name correctly, he's my elderly uncle and diehard Birds fan. And I just did it there, Sean. So once again, I'll say it again there for Mike Estabrook on the show. And I'll have Mike Estabrook on the show when you can. It'll mean the world to him. Sure. Just let me know, Sean. We'll put it together there. And by the way, as Sean came together here, I will say just for, again, for his uncle, Mike Estabrook, this one is just here for you. E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles! You're welcome, Sean. And Sean, and just because he was just on there, I want to shout out 2 things because I do want to bring up one of 2 things. First is the Northwest Bird Gang, which those guys belong to out there, Sean and his group out there. So if you guys are on the West Coast or the left coast, as I like to talk about it, reach out to the Northwest Bird Gang. Become an official member of their group over there. Fantastic group. I joined not too long ago. So, and I, as I mentioned to Sean before, that I was sending him a shot I did from a previous show, and I'm doing it again. So, Sean, thanks for coming back. And tell your uncle thank you so much as well for tuning in. I want to get to, as we're talking about here, when it came to who's going to be the next one. And for those who did not get to hear this rant from Danny Ainge, not from Danny Ainge, from Stephen A. Smith, this is quite something. So here's Stephen A. Smith. Once again, full disclosure, YouTube, I do not own this clip, and it belongs to public domain. As you can see, it comes from you guys. This is public domain footage of Stephen A. Smith walking off the set.
Long enough career as an executive, and if he ends up landing someplace else, I'd applaud it because he deserves it, because he has a resume that speaks to that. I wish not throw no shade on Danny Ainge. I do think that he should have went after Anthony Davis a bit harder, but then again, with Anthony Davis perpetually injured, we understand why he may have been reluctant to do so. As it pertains to this, here's what I want to do. Again, when we talk about Steve Nash, we talk about Tim Tebow, we talk about Brad Stevens and stuff like that. I want to call out the NBA players. You got something to say about everything else? Where you at? We got One, you got some people out there that saying Raphael Stone ain't making the final calls, even though Fertitta and the Houston Rockets swear that he is. Okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You got Masai Ujiri in Canada. You got Raphael Stone in Houston after everybody's departed, and he basically has no team. They ain't African Americans that have been toiling through the terrain and trying to become executives in the National Basketball Association. Last time I checked, that's the case. We see coaches on the sideline. They don't want to become head coaches. They've been assistants for years. You got a guy like Phil Handy in Los Angeles that's been an assistant everywhere he's gone to get championships. Cleveland, Toronto, and LA. Okay? And it wasn't just LeBron. It was Kawhi, too. There's a plethora of guys. You got Sam Cassell. He's going to be a hell of a coach one day in the NBA if he gets that opportunity. Chauncey Billups. Everybody was talking about he had an opportunity to get an executive position, and then suddenly it dwindles. But Steve Nash, who we love and respect, great dude, got a black agent, one of the great ones, Mr. Bill Duffy. But Steve Nash never coached on any level. And not only does he get the job, he gets the job with the full support of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who, by the way, never insisted that a black candidate be interviewed and be put front and center so we'll know who that individual is. We got Brad Stevens here. It's Boston. Tatum's your star. Jaylen Brown's your star. We understand what role that they play, particularly Jaylen Brown, in social justice issues. We're supposed to be woke. We're supposed to understand that knee on George Floyd's neck wasn't just about violence and police brutality. It was also the figurative semblance that it provided, where you're feeling like constantly people have their knee on your neck since the time you come out of the womb. We've been talking about all of this stuff, and people are willing to say, oh, Stephen A's bringing up race. Oh, Stephen A's bringing up George Floyd and equating that to Tebow. No, I'm not. What I'm saying is, from a figurative perspective, what we witnessed and what got the nation up and it just inspired was because what we saw was symptomatic and emblematic of how we feel as a people, consistently being marginalized, consistently being minimized, consistently being underappreciated, undervalued. And in a world of sports, where you got dudes with guaranteed contracts making money that would secure their generations of family, you got folks hesitant to speak up. You got players, NBA players are some of the most powerful people in this world. When have they spoken up for black coaches? When? When have they spoken up for black executives, GMs, president of basketball operations? When has that happened? LeBron, all of them, everybody. Where the hell have they been? Nobody's done anything. And then when we the media, we bring it up. And you got white folks out here going to sit up there and look at Stephen A. and say, oh, here he is bringing up race. And none of the black players speak up and say, yo, he got a point. Yo, he's right. Yo, there's something that needs to be done here. Do y'all want me to bring up the Rooney Rule and how it might be needed in basketball? Oh, I forgot. I can't do that. Why? Because the Rooney Rule ain't even working in the damn NFL. So when are we going to say something about it? I mean, you know what? I'm going to walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
So, and again, I understand, we know there's been all kinds of things going on here. And I understand, like Stephen A. Smith, where he's trying to come from as far as, and he's not bringing it as far as the race issue into it. And by the way, as far as when it comes to race, there's one race, it's human race, is different ethnicities. Let me get that one off my chest here real quick. But to me, it's one of those things that, yes, did Boston decide to go out there and look and see who was available? Or did we just decide to go with, okay, so we're going to move up Brad Stevens up into the president of basketball operations, and we're not going to give anyone else a fair shot. And I'm talking about, whether you're white, black, Indian, Hispanic, no matter what, did they bother to go out and say, hey, by the way, who do we want to reach out to? Whichever potential candidate. And again, I understand Stephen when it comes to saying, okay, so who do we replace now Brad Stevens with? So his rant some people may have rubbed it the wrong way, but if you listen to it like over and over again, you understand what Stephen A was talking about, and that's why he walked away from the set. Because I'm pretty sure, like everyone else, when you're caught up in the heat of the moment, you want to make sure you don't lose your cool too much. So I understand and I get where Stephen A is where he's coming from. But again, we've seen this in many major league sports where somebody steps down, someone walks away, the right candidate isn't in there, and I will bring up someone that we just saw walk away from the Eagles,
Deuce Staley.
Right? He's gone. He went to Detroit because if you look at it, the Eagles didn't even give him a shot. It was like, hey, thanks for your service, thanks for everything you've done, but you know what? Yeah, okay, you want to go to Detroit? Go ahead. And I'm not taking anything away from Nick Sirianni, don't get me wrong, but who was to say that Deuce Staley could have been the next head coach for the Eagles and where he could have taken us? No one knows. I guess we'll never know, but we'll see in Detroit. Or if another team comes to call in the following year, Deuce will be a head coach somewhere. Where, we don't know. But this is kind of like where Stephen A. was getting to. If you're going to put the right people in position, make sure you go through a thorough candidate search. Make sure you put the right people in the place. And I won't go off my soapbox for something that's going on with this government right now, because guess what? There's people that shouldn't be where they are, but it's okay because there is another day. And that's all I'm going to say about on that behalf. But as far as when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, yeah, he's 100% correct. If all these players every single time say they want to voice their opinion, then when do they voice their opinion when something like this goes down? And again, I'm not taking anything away from Danny Ainge, not taking anything away from Brad Stevens, but there comes a point of accountability. Why was it not available to the mass public? Because we've been to jobs before, and everyone knows it as a blue-collar town in Philadelphia. When you think you have the know-it-all, I guess to say it, to be able to move up to another position, what do? They look outside the company and bring somebody in. But yet you were the one that was groomed to get that position. So if the Celtics are going to do right, they should have did it right from the very beginning. So with Stephen A. Smith, did he have reasons for it? Yeah, he did. And that's where I'll leave it at that.
No, definitely legitimate reasons. Just like the Art Rooney rule is kind of just like a joke. I mean, how many African-American coaches got passed over on jobs?
I'll say this. Stop coming up with your damn rules because it doesn't do a damn thing. And you know what? I'm so sick and tired of talking about it. And I'm glad Stephen A. said what he said, because don't come up with an Art Rooney rule, because you always hear about teams, they say they do their due process, and you're always hearing stories about this guy wasn't interviewed or that guy wasn't interviewed, and then years later you hear about guys talk about stories of like why they really didn't get the job and stuff like that. It's all window masking, the Art Rooney rule. Big freaking deal. What has it done to solve the problem? What has it done to improve the issue going forward? Nothing. I'll tell you this damn straight up. I was talking to a couple of Eagles fans when they were doing their coaching search, and the first person that came out of my mouth was, Deuce Staley knows the city, he knows the culture, he knows what it takes, he knows how to handle the media, he knows how to handle the fans, he knows how to handle the players. And you know the reason why he left? He knew he wasn't going to get the damn job. And he had enough, because he had given to the organization. He had given to the city. He knew what it took. And guess what? All in the end, he didn't get a fair shake. He didn't get a fair opportunity. And he would have been the best number one candidate for that Philadelphia Eagles job.
The players loved him, and it's not the first time Deuce got passed over for the job.
No, listen, it's a shame, and it's not gonna end there, because you look at and we talked about this, if I remember correctly, again with Sean Salisbury, was that when it came to Tony Dungy, you look what he did for the Bucks, and then almost did not get an opportunity, but Indianapolis decided to say, you know what, we're going to take the chance on Tony Dungy, and for me personally, I would say thank God that he was able to win it. And I know Sean talked about it. A Super Bowl shouldn't define who you are as a person, as a man. But it's one of those things to me. I'm glad that Tony Dungy was able to do so. And listen, we know there's things that need to change. We understand it. We get it. And when it comes to positions for certain teams, to me, I'm always going to believer of, if you are more than eligible and more than qualified to be able to, whether it's to lead a team, lead a company, whatever the case may be, put the right people into place. Just don't pick and choose who you want, because you figure, okay, well, you know what, I owed him one or something else, or, whatever, or I got some dirt on him, and because I got dirt on him, now I'm going to keep him in the position where he is right now. because it's not fair. It's not even fair to the Boston folks that are out there. Because who's to say, again, as Ryan talked about it, who knows if Brad Stevens does a good job or not. I guess the fans will find out come the NBA draft next year. They'll find out what's going on or any upcoming trades. But now it's who wants to go to Boston and coach that team, especially after what Stephen A. said. So it's interesting. And I want to get to some Phillies talk here before we end it, because Sherman, I know you're chomping at the bit when it comes to Philly stuff. But I will say, thank God the Phillies were able at least to bounce back, if not for one game last night. We know that injuries are plaguing this team as well. We know that for some ungodly reason, we cannot get our pitching staff to where it needs to be. And I know last year it hurt a lot because the guys who were down there, at AAA, the AA, down here with the Clearwater Threshers, I mean, they didn't get to show their stuff and showcase what they, as far as what they have. We're halfway almost into the season at this point. And there's no one really, truthfully, down in Clearwater that I would say right now to bring up even to the AA league. I mean, right now you're talking about it's been, they're a low affiliate, so it's not even single A baseball. So right now there's not, I can't recommend a pitcher that you can shoot up to the farm, up to AA. So Bryce Harper, I know he's injured. I know, it's something that's been plaguing him. Andrew McCutchen, the production is down. I mean, Sherman, we know that they got at least one game win under a belt. Are the Phillies capable of making at least a halfway decent run in the month of June going into July before the All-Star break?
I'm going to say yes to that question, because at the end of the day, pitching is what's going to keep teams competitive. You have Zach Wheeler right now, who's arguably the second best pitcher in the National League outside of Jacob deGrom. He's kind of in a league of his own. You have Aaron Nola, and even though I don't think Aaron Nola is ace status, he is still a quality pitcher in the National League. You have Zach Eflin outside of his last start where he got roughed up a little bit. Zach Eflin has been very strong all season. And Vince Velasquez, I know that he got roughed up in his last start in Cincinnati, but before that, he had 4 quality starts in a row as well. If you have a team that has quality starting pitchers like the Philadelphia Phillies have right now, then yes, I do think that they can make a bit of a run to stay competitive until Harper comes back. The ironic thing that you bring up, Tuesday night in the show, I talked about McCutchen and how poorly he had been performing. And what does he do in that 17-3 game against the Cincinnati Reds? He hits 2 home runs. So just go figure. Andrew McCutchen, yeah, it's a good thing you were taken out of the leadoff spot. Stay in the 6th spot where you belong, because your average is down, you can't field, and you're not a quality player anymore. So hopefully the kibosh will go on McCutchen, and he'll go on a little bit of a run against the Nationals and the Braves coming up here. But I want to mention one thing. In that 17-3 game, can we give kudos to Archie Bradley, relief pitcher extraordinaire? Did you watch the at-bat that he had? There was a position player pitching to him, and Archie Bradley just stood there. It was 17-3 in the top of the 9th inning. First pitch, strike. Second pitch, strike. Third pitch, Archie Bradley squares to bunt. This is absolutely fantastic that he squares to bunt, and then he pulls back. And, of course, it's strike 3. I loved it, Archie Bradley, because a position player, his friend from Arizona, was pitching to him. Absolutely great stuff. Go Phillies.
Yeah, we just hope that they will get far. And I know people talked about Joe Girardi as far as, we should let Joe go, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with Joe Girardi. If you're going to, as a coach and players, you are paid to do a job, just like the rest of us are here. Everyone who's watching on the other side of the camera here, everyone gets paid to do a job, and they expect you to do set job. So now when it comes to Joe Girardi, he's doing the best that he can with what he has. We know that the Phillies talked about, almost 2 seasons ago, they want to spend stupid money. No offense, Bryce Harper got that stupid money, and we still have seen the stupid bats when it comes to Bryce Harper. And not knocking Bryce Harper, don't get me wrong, at the same time too. But when you get paid to do a certain job, then step up and do that job. So when all these players start blaming, your coach on why you aren't coaching us correctly, how about look at yourselves as well on where you can carry this team? So somehow or another, Sixers have been able to do it. Phillies need to take whatever the Sixers are doing right over there across the street at the Wells, bring it over to Citizens Bank Park, because apparently this team can do it, and they should do it. Because if the other clown out there in San Francisco wins one after being here, and Joe doesn't first, buddy.
Hey, but look at it like this. I mean, you bring in a guy like Dave Dombrowski, who's won a couple titles and has a great resume, and throughout baseball being one of the better GMs. Like, thing of it is, it's, Girardi's only dealing with what he has on the bench. Like, it's not like he can go out and make the moves. I mean, the heat's on Dombrowski. I mean, hopefully at the deadline, if they're buyers, he will go out and be able to spend some money for some of these other contracts that'll be 1-year deals or whatever for next year, just to compete to get to the wild card or win the division. Talk about supposed to be the best division in baseball. It's a flat out joke. I mean,
Sure.
the heat's on Dombrowski. So Girardi, like I said, Girardi's only given what he's handed.
There he goes. He got to fire it up.
Well, it's the truth.
Sherm, you're saying that the Phillies are going to make a run in June, huh?
Was that a wade? Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, they have the pitching that they could make a run in June. They have 4 qualities. You get what you get. But BB, 4 of his last 5 starts have been very strong. I mean, the pitching can keep them in it. The batting is a completely different thing. Hopefully they busted out of their shell with that 17-3 win. But what happens after the 17-3 win? They have Wednesday off. It got rained out. And Thursday was an off day. And now they're going to run into Max Scherzer on Friday night with the Nationals. Should be a pretty impressive game because I think it's Scherzer and Wheeler. So tune into that game. Should be a pretty good game.
I'll tell you what. So they got the series against the Nationals. Then they have a series against the Braves. Then they have a series against the Yanks. Then the Dodgers.
2 games.
Then the Giants. Then the Nationals again. Then the Mets. And then they close out the month with the Marlins. I'll tell you what. If they make a run by the end of June with that schedule, I'll buy you a new banner.
That's
what
it.
Does make a run mean?
I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you to that, Neff. I'm holding you.
For entertainment purposes only, I will cave and I will send it to you via the UPS or FedEx overnight. If they make a run with that schedule, if Vince Velasquez goes off, I'll buy you a separate hat.
So we need classifications on what is going to constitute a run. I think the Phillies are 4.5 games back right now. So is it going to be based upon what they do, whether they make in a run in the standings, closing the gap? Because they could go, 5 games over 500 in the month of June and lose ground if the Mets go off. So, off air, we can talk about specifications of that.
Well, how about
21 games in the month of June? 21 games in the month of June.
How about the record in June overall?
1-0 right now.
You say
in June.
So how many games? They got 21 games left?
21 games in the month of June.
The overall record of the month of June, where the Phillies.
If they are 5 games over 5, I'll give you 6. If there's 6 games over 500 with those remaining games, I'll buy you a new banner.
Can I get a witness?
You are the witness.
Sure are the witness.
Well, we got multiple witnesses.
You are the witness.
What?
Thanks again to the Middle Show, the guys coming on with us, Harry Mayes, Eytan Shander, Barrett Brooks. Again, if you guys follow them on the Middle Show, you go to the Middle Show _ on your Twitter handle. Click on the link, and then it'll take you out to their YouTube, Philly Voice, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Again, the guys individually, there's Harry Mayes at Harry Mayes TU, Eytan Shander, the Shander Show, and Barrett Brooks at B Brooks 72 NBCS, as I screwed that one up earlier. But thanks to you guys for coming on tonight. We had a lot of fun definitely with them. We also like to thank our special partnership here with Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge and Tobacconist. And if you guys have seen on the bottom banner there, if you need the finest cigar in the Delaware Valley, look no further than cigargoose.com. Cigargoose.com. Pick out the cigar that you want. And by the way, go up to Limerick and see Goose in person and get the finest cigars in town right directly from Goose's Pond Studio at the Pencil.
What are you doing with the pencil? Taking notes?
Hey, he's smoking his fake. He's smoking his fake.
That fake stogie.
He's smoking skinny.
And Tom says he will testify. So
Sweet.
thanks
Thanks,
to
Tom.
everyone who tuned in tonight. We do appreciate everyone coming on. We have our Tuesday night show, which as of right now, it's the boys hanging out on Tuesday night. That will be at 7 o'clock. But again, that audio will be downloaded on Wednesday morning. And by the way, for the show from this past Tuesday, it is on BroadStreetSouth.com. Again, BroadStSouth.com. I want you guys to like, subscribe, and share the page not only on Facebook, but also on YouTube. And under YouTube, you guys will see we're still under Broad Street South Sports Talk. So follow that as we're getting the Broad Street South version of YouTube up and going. But at the moment, it's Broad Street South Sports Talk. Follow us on YouTube as well. Tell your friends, tell everyone to follow us. Again, check out our BroadStreetSouth.com page where young Nick has 4 articles up there and looking fantabulous on his articles. So take a look at his articles. And by the way, those who want to find the best analyst in the business, look no further than our young Ducky, because he is the best in the business. So take a look. You guys share it again. As far as when it comes to Twitter, you can also follow us on Broad Street South Pod, Broad ST South Pod on Twitter, and individually with the guys. I will leave everyone with some Sixers music, and I see one more coming up here is David. Thank you, David. Great job, guys. We do appreciate it. Along with Sean, who else did I miss here beforehand? Sean, his uncle, Mike Estabrook, once again, thank you for watching the show. Christina, Barbara, for bringing up his when it comes to Philly. So thank you to Randy as well, Marina, and Dave. And Dave, I will do what I promised exactly to do, and I will bring that up. Matter of fact, right now, Dave does have a brand new show coming up this Sunday night, and I need to find it here momentarily as I bring it up. From 8 to 9:30, you can find it on YouTube, if I do remember correctly, and on Facebook. It is the Steel City Renegades, and I was correct when it came to the name. So Dave Wallachek's group at Redline LLC, check them out, Steel City Renegades, from 8 to 9:30 this week coming up. That should be really exciting, as we will have pretty much, it could be a good debate between Broad Street South and Steel City Renegades, Birds, Steelers. So that's a pretty good job by Dave. And I know he's got a new lineup coming up. He's also going to have the new location coming up as well. So they're looking to do bigger and better things. And of course, also to Rob J and Cleveland's Finest podcast, as those guys are doing such a fantastic show as well. So thanks to everyone coming out tonight. We do appreciate it. As I said, we'll be exiting out here with some little bit of some Sixers tunes. Let's see if the Sixers can't put it together here for round 2. And I will be a homer for the moment. The NHL picks up tomorrow night. Just staying down here in Tampa. Go Bolts, because they're up 2-0. Don't hold it against me. Listen,
we don't go with that. Don't fly up in Philly, my man.
Title town of the South. Title town of the South.
Let's root for Carolina.
Fraudulent title.
Listen, the people in Carolina don't even root for the people.
Tampa Bay Bucks are a bunch of frauds, just like the Bolts.
No
Rays.
Okay.
All fraudulent, like some folks on here, fraudulent fans. I'm just telling it like it is. We're from Philly and we don't care.
We're from
flipping Philly and we don't care.
You want the chant there, Fooch?
Yeah,
play
it.
We'll play it just before we go out here, just for Fuji. And by the way, just because I am down here in Tampa, believe me, I'm still 4-4 back home. But it's nice to see the defending Stanley Cup champions trying to make another push and a hard one. And we will be down there on Saturday night down there at Family Arena. So,
I don't know. You take your allegiance.
We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us, we don't care. No one likes us, no one likes us, no one likes us, we don't care. We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us, we don't care. No.
There you go. Just for food.
See Vogan there, striking a pose.
And by the way, because again, it becomes my favorite part of the night. The man right above Ryan with finishing up with the favorite boutique of the week.
It's on loop.
It'll end up going away here momentarily, but again, the fun part comes right now.
Nick, check it out in the Muppets. Oh, man.
Take it away, Sherman.
Yo, everyone, tell your sister and mom, check out the sales at BurksBoutique.com. Thank you for the plug. Appreciate it.
Not a problem whatsoever. So, again, thanks to Debbie, the producer, who told me earlier that things weren't working a little bit crazy because we had some echo, but thankfully it worked itself out. So, thanks to Debbie, the producer, Christina for tuning in, Ryan, Fuji, and by the way, again, still 4 for 4. Don't listen to old Vito Corleone there.
3 for 4.
This guy right here. All right, let's not forget that.
Should be to the orange and black, not that blue team.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
Not the Bolts.
It doesn't matter. Since I've been down here, I will say in my defense, since I've been down here, apparently I must have taken a championship from Philly down here because these guys have been winning for some odd reason. Just saying.
Well, Tampa Bay was a ball team.
It's okay.
Because the NFL had it in for Brady to get another
It's
Super.
okay. You can say whatever you want to. I'm not a Bucs fan, so it doesn't matter to me.
Well, I'm just stating the facts.
No, that's true. So for young Nick there, Sherman, the sports contributor, everyone, we will see you next Thursday at 7:30. And by the way, Sherman, would you like to let everyone know who's going to be on with us next Thursday?
Absolutely. The high school where I work, Frankfurt High School in Philadelphia, PA, we are going to have longtime, successful, winning baseball coach Juan Namnen as a guest on our show next Thursday night. So be sure to check that out. Frankfurt Proud. He'll be on the show next Thursday night at 7:30.
And there's my aunt. My tia, hello, Junito. This is Titi Ali. It's nice to see you. How are you? Tia, I'm doing fantastic. Living a dream down here in paradise. And I miss you. I haven't seen you in many, many years, but I'm hoping to go back home here further north, by the way, back up to New England. As it's 2 homes, Philly up to New England. But Tia, I will see you hopefully sometime soon, unless you come down here. So I miss you. I love you. And tell Tio Ocal that I said hello y la bendición. So thank you for watching here at the last minute. So again, I will leave everyone with some Sixers music. Once again, we'll see everyone next week at 7:30, unless we get some crazy breaking news or something happens in between. We will see everyone again come next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell for the Sixers.
Here we come, everybody.
And lose to the Hawks. Clap your hands, everybody.
Philadelphia 76ers. Stop the feed. Everybody.